Witch in Charm's Way, a cozy mystery audiobook, written and narrated by R.K. Dreaming. Part 10. "No, you are not," I said with a sigh. "He's a humble, and you know that we never crossed that line, so what's the point even talking about it?" All three cousins looked like I had burst their bubble. Their shoulders sagged, because they knew I had spoken the truth. The three of us had always hated the kinds of witches and wizards who would use magic to target humbles. It was something that we would never do. "It won't stop me dreaming about it," said Viv resentfully. "And wishing bad karma his way," said Fluffy. "And finding a genie to make that wish into a reality," said Allegra. The four of us burst into laughter, and this time gathered into a more sombre group hug. "It's no wonder you're looking peaky," said Allegra. "I can't believe you've lost so much weight since I last saw you. Are you sure you're not ill? I mean, you look good, but you also look pretty terrible." She plucked my clothes, which were hanging loosely off my body. "It's nothing," I said. "All of this being ill and stuff with Drew just made me lose my appetite." I wasn't ready to tell them about the true extent of the malady affecting me. It was dangerous. It wasn't something I wanted to drag them into. And I couldn't bear to watch dread and fear cross their faces as they looked at me. I didn't want to make them into the ones who would have to report me to the conclave and carry that guilt forever. "Does that mean you're home for good?" asked Fluffy hopefully. I shook my head. "I just needed to get away for a bit," I said. There was no point raising their hopes for no reason. "Then you had better come home tonight with us to see the family," said Allegra in a firm voice. "You know that Granny Selma will never let you live it down if you don't." "You're not a humble," added Viv, "so she's not above using magic to make you sorry for not doing your granddaughterly duties." "This is so exciting," said Fluffy. 19 years! I can't believe you haven't been home in 19 years! I groaned. "And I don't want to go home now. Can you imagine telling them that my marriage broke down after just 3 weeks? And you know what Granny Selma is going to say." "That you shouldn't have married a humble," said Viv with a smirk. "I don't need to hear it from you, thanks very much," I said. "I can't face it today. Can you imagine what she'll say when she finds out that I'm staying here at Mansion House?" "The abode of the enemy," said Allegra in mock horror. "Does Granny know that you three are here?" I asked. "No, she does not, and we don't plan on telling her," said Viv. "We have to tell her," said Allegra. "It's not like we can pretend that Esme is staying at a hotel. If she finds out the truth from someone else, we'll be in for it." "All the more reason not to mention me being here at all," I said grumpily. "Can't," said Allegra. "They've heard about the murder already. Granny thinks the Hardwicks inherited the castle, so she's been gleeful about them having to deal with the scandal. She'll soon hear it was you who found the body, and she won't be so gleeful then." I groaned. Allegra always did make sense. "You have to come home sometime," said Fluffy. "You have to meet baby Luna." Fluffy knew exactly how to win me over. I adored babies. Uncle Radagast's son Prospero and his wife had a 6-month-old baby girl, and I had been gushing emotionally over the photos that Allegra had sent to me. Probably because I'd been dreaming Drew and I would finally have one soon, which would now never happen. Fluffy could see that the talk of little Luna was winning me over. "Come on Saturday," she said brightly. "The family gathering," I said in tones of horror. It was tradition for our family to gather together on Saturdays for an informal meal and catch-up. Although all of the family pretty much lived in Willow Manor or on the estate, everyone was busy in the week with their own lives, so Granny Selma insisted on a weekly gathering. "The family gathering," said Allegra firmly, "is the best time for your appearance. Everyone will be around, including the children and the in-laws, so Granny won't want to give you too much of an earful in front of them all." "Good point," I said grudgingly, but already trying to think of ways to get out of it. Viv smirked as she watched me. "Don't even think about it," she said. "You might as well eat the frog and get it over with, or you'll never hear the end of it." "Why do you think I went to London?" I said, so I didn't even have to hear the start of it. "It's not funny," said Allegra. "I can't believe that you stayed away for this long. When you left, I was sure that you'd come home before now." She looked hopeful. "Don't even think about it," I said to her. "This visit is temporary." "If you say so," she said, a small smile playing on the corners of her lips. "This cake is amazing," said Fluffy, who had taken her first bite of the passion and white chocolate mousse cake. Allegra tried it. The taste stopped her complaints all at once. An expression of bliss spread over her face. "Incredible," she agreed. "I can't believe we've missed out on this all these years." "Thank you, dears," trilled a voice. Aunt Adele had floated into the kitchen through the wall, and she was beaming at Allegra and Fluffy. She continued to beam as I made the introductions. "It's so wonderful to meet you girls at long last," she cried out, swooping in to plant chill kisses on their cheeks. She rambled on about all she had heard of us from afar over the years, and grew tearful at finally having been reunited with her family, even if it had to be after death. She didn't let the mood grow maudlin, however, making everyone laugh when she pinched Fluffy's rosy cheek and called her adorable. "Granny Fluffy would have loved having you as a namesake," she said, looking sentimental. Fluffy beamed at this. Our legendary great-great-grandmother Fluffy had been the first Fluffy Westbrim, and she had been the one who had started up the family business Fluffiness Emporium, which had made the vast Westbrim family fortune. Everyone in the family, apart from me, worked for the family business. We sold products that quite literally contained little bits of magical happiness. We were in the business of selling joy. This was the unintended upside of the fairy tale curse that had been inflicted on the women of our family. It had given us the gift for inventing ways to magically infuse objects with little bits of happiness. Sweets, toys, books, anything you could think of. Happiness was not a thing that magic should have been able to make, so this gift was astonishing. It had made our family famous. No one in the world could make happiness charms the way we could. And by we, I did not mean me. My cousins were particularly good at it, constantly reinventing remarkable new ways to coax happiness into everyday things. But even the happiness that they could make for others was fleeting, and making a lasting happiness for one's own life was another matter altogether. If only the family women had been as good at that. "Perhaps you'll be the one to complete the family quest," said Aunt Adele to Fluffy. Fluffy's eyes lit up. Even though they loved their little sister, Allegra and Viv looked a little jealous at this. They all wanted to be the one to win the family quest. On her deathbed, instead of naming her successor, great-great-grandmother Fluffy had set a quest. Only one who was worthy would find the mysterious key that unlocked the ownership of Fluffiness Emporium. Until then, it remained in a trust that belonged to all of us and to none of us. Currently, Granny Salma, the eldest of her siblings, held the purse strings. "Do you think so?" gushed Fluffy, with stars in her eyes. It made me giggle and put a fond smile on Allegra and Viv's faces. Better you than Coco or Cora, said Viv to Fluffy, and flicked her little sister's braid. Coco and Cora were Uncle Radagast's eldest daughters, twins, and they weren't exactly our favourites. Enough about that, said Allegra. Now, what about this murder?
Hey, this is the end. Comment the code word, I'm a superstar, to confuse everyone who hasn't reached this part of the story yet. Thank you.